Yesterday at the fire chat, I had an interesting conversation. So I managed to network my way through being taught how to use a chopstick. I'm not sure about your experience, but I doubt anyone can top that. And today I'm feeling really empowered. I feel like I can give you all classes. But I'm not going to talk about my journey to using chopsticks. I'm going to talk about teachers as agents of change. And my name is Marita, and I work with Dignitas. So Dignitas is a leading education organization that uses innovative training and coaching to empower schools and educators in low-resource communities in order to transform opportunities for the next learner. We started our work because of the current global crisis that we have. In Mkuru kwa Jengwa, we have a learner called Rhoda in grade 4. And she can't read or understand a simple text. And we have her teacher, Mr. Juma, who doesn't have the capacity to support Rhoda. He just finished Form 4, he's passionate about teaching. He can barely support Rhoda with the kind of issues she has. And then we have the instructional leader, head teacher, Miss Mary, who barely gets time to go and observe Mr. Juma. So we can see where the problem is, and Mary is just one learner among the 87% of learners who cannot read a simple text by the age of 10. So as Dignitas, we have a proven method. And one of the questions we had is, how can we scale this? How can we ensure the impact is everywhere? So we built Lead Now and launched it in 2023. It's a digital training and coaching toolkit that equips teachers to nurture 21st century skills for marginalized learners. And it transforms teaching and learning by enabling individualized, data-driven opportunities for educators to learn, thrive, and grow. And since 2023, we have worked with 5,000 teachers who have empowered over 89,000 learners. So how does this work? We provide professional development and remote coaching support, which leads to sustained best practices in school, and then it has been tested across different areas in Kenya. And what I like telling people is that Lead Now has been built by teachers for teachers. So in our product, we have assessment, training and coaching content, and guided practice. So we talked about reach, and I want to talk about the impact. So Lead Now, when it comes to engagement, per year, we usually see an 83% completion rate, which compared to a normal average online course that usually has a 12.6. But that's just engagement. Let's also talk about the actual impact, which is implementation. So what we are seeing through research is that our teachers are able to report 56% average gains in teacher and instructional leadership competencies. And at a learner level, we are seeing 11% increase in learners meeting and exceeding expectations in 21st century. And we want to be able to scale that impact to 16,000 more teachers and 2 million learners. And we want to work with you by expanding reach. This method works. We want to co-create with you. But we also want to ensure that our app is scaling in a way that makes sense. So artificial intelligence for more personalized feedback and coaching. And we are not strengthening only the school system. We want to also strengthen the education system. So also seeing what we have seen working for the education officers, so dashboards, in order to ensure that coaching is data-driven. This is the amazing team that is passion-driven and excited to continuously work with teachers. And we have also worked with different partners, and we've been recognized by amazing organizations like GSF, and we have received awards that have made us to continue do our work. And as I close my presentation, I want to leave you with this. Teachers are agents of change. For a learner in Mkuru kwa Jengwa, they are their everyday superheroes. So reflect on your favorite teacher when you are a learner. Reflect on how they made you feel, and that's what we are trying to co-create with our solution, so working with the government and things like that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marita. A big round of applause. Post-lunch, big energy. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Let's picture a government school in rural India. One teacher, 40 children in a classroom, handling 5 grades. Some students can read stories, while some are still learning the alphabets. Yet, they all share the same space, same teacher, at the same time. Across India, we have 127 million children enrolled in our public schools. And we face two main challenges. 50% of our grade 5 students cannot read grade 2 text. And nearly 10% of our schools are single teacher schools, often managing multi-level and multi-learning classrooms. So a problem at this scale, what we need as a solution is something which is cost-effective and scalable, while also acknowledging the socio-cultural realities of our education system. That led us to ask one key question. Can children be a part of the solution? Our solution, peer teaching and learning, a model that delivers highest impact at the lowest cost. At Involve, we choose to innovate within the existing system, keeping child at the center of our learning, center of our design. And this is how we do it. Teachers create and support peer groups within the classroom. And in each of these peer groups, there will be a student leader who will be mapped to 4 to 5 learners. And this student leader guides and mentors this learner through revisions and remedial classes during the regular classrooms. And through these structured peer groups, we bridge the foundational learning gap while nurturing the 21st century skills such as communication and collaboration. Here, while the learners gain confidence, receive personalized attention from the leaders, and also strengthen the skills, the student leaders also build the skills on problem solving, conflict resolution, leadership, and many such. So in short, through this structured peer program, we transform classrooms to spaces where every child can learn and every child can lead. We also acknowledge that to reach to all of this child, we must work with the government. And in India, education governance is a federal form where at the national level, the policies are being decided while the implementation happens at the state and the district level. And this is how we work within the system. We train, we co-create program designs at the state and the district level. And we also get permission for the training and orientation and data collection. At the block level, we train the educational officers who oversees the program at the school. And then we move on to the mentor cadres and teachers at the school level. Here, we train the teachers to implement peer teaching in their classrooms through using various resources such as guidebook, video materials, and step-by-step implementation process. Our team also provide continuous monitoring and implementation support to ensure the quality of implementation at this level. Through this approach, we have built India's largest peer teaching program running in government schools across 6 districts in 3 states of India. We have trained more than 30,000 teachers, reaching 1 million students and supporting more than 7,000 schools. The model strength lies in its simplicity. We use existing resources such as our classrooms, teachers, students, curriculum, and do not force to add any additional resources. And that makes the solution highly scalable, sustainable, and also system-friendly. Evidences from our program also shows a greater impact of this approach. Just 2 to 3 hours of peer teaching per week have shown a 0.2 SD improvement in students' foundational learning outcome. And we deliver this program at less than $2 per child per year cost. And that makes this innovation, again, one of the most cost-effective, scalable innovation that helps in improving the students' learning outcome. Interestingly, we also have seen students reported reduced anxiety being part of learning in their peer groups. And this has increased the attendance in the schools and also increased their engagement with the learning. And teachers, 67% of the teachers have supported this evidence. This is not possible without the excellent team we have at Involve, and also our mentors and supporters with whom we have built this program. We also would like to acknowledge all of our partners who have played a great role in our journey throughout. Our goal for 2030 is to enable 10 million students achieve foundational learning through peer teaching enhanced classroom. And to make this vision a reality, we have 3 asks. We are looking for $2 million over the span of next 3 years to expand our program to three of the lowest performing states in India to reach 10 million students. We are also looking at research partnership to do a rigorous assessment on our impact of our programs. And like many of you here, government and NGOs, we are also looking for implementation partners who would like to take our program, co-test it in different geographies and contexts. It is great to have you all here, and me and Pratibha, we both are open to questions and collaboration in the next few days. Thank you for listening.
My name is Victoria, the founder of Duara Education, and together with our amazing founding school entrepreneur here, Flora, who just joined us from her school, we're going to share with you a little bit about how Duara is reimagining education from within communities. Before that, though, 2 quick experiences that shaped me and led me to ultimately Duara. Growing up in Germany, I was so lucky to have an amazing primary school teacher, Mrs. Mühlbauer, who made me aspire to be a primary school teacher myself. After high school then, I volunteered in Peru as a teacher and experienced there the stark difference between public education and high quality, or a struggling public education system and high quality private education that was inaccessible to most families. Over to you, Flo, for why we're here.
Thank you, Victoria, and hello, everyone. So we are here today because despite the progress we've made, across Africa, we still have children who lack access to quality, especially high-quality education. And my experience here in Kenya is, in my own community, solutions come and go, and I see some of these solutions are either expensive, they are low quality, or they are out of touch with the current context. But we are sitting on untapped potential. And what is it? It's teachers like me. I'm sure in every community you'll find a teacher. And so ask any teacher, what do they dream of? And they'll for sure tell you, I always dream about starting my own school. Why? Because finally you want to have an opportunity to shape learning, to impact your own community, and also to just like build something sustainable for your own family. But what is the challenge that we face? We lack skills, we lack the tools, we lack the support, and also we lack capital. But that's why Duara is here, and that's what I believe. And so Duara is here, and it turns teachers into entrepreneurs and school owners, and equips us with the right skills. So we find that we have micro schools in our community, and every micro school has about 60 to 80 learners. And what's important about the micro school is that it's affordable, offers high quality education, financially sustainable, and it is right in the middle of the community. And why is that so? It's because within community, once you give them agency, actually the solutions do exist in our communities. And so Victoria will tell us more about how Duara School empowers teachers like me. Yeah, because I'm actually living my dream. I own my own school right now. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Flo. So Duara walks with you as a teacher every step of the way. There's first the incubator, which equips you with the tools, the capital, the resources to launch your school. From there, you're equipped with the seedling, where you get curriculum, assessments, operational tools, system, technology, data, everything that you need to grow your school. And then ultimately, you're embedded in the collective, your sisterhood of peer mentorship, support, and well-being. So why does this model actually work? We believe that it is our unique approach that marries 4 important components that make it low cost and high quality. Firstly, teachers are owners, like Flora. They're embedded in their community, they're highly accountable to it and want to deliver on that promise. We have 0% teacher absenteeism, as you can imagine. Secondly, the schools are developed with the community from day one. Parents, practitioners, mentors are there in the design phases as well as in the everyday, leading to high engagement and high local relevance. Thirdly, it's a decentral network, but deeply interconnected. Imagine it like a root system where every school entrepreneur is just literally every day supporting each other with mentorship, with guidance, with problem solving. And lastly, as we heard so much today in the last days, of course, we can leverage so much amazing tech AI that exists today, from automation to AI tutors, co-pilots, and economies of scale. So we're a young organization, but in the last 1.5 years, we've achieved first proof of concept. We got 4 schools running, over 100 learners that we're serving every day, and our cost, quality, and feedback are showing in the right direction. In our last incubator call for application, over 300 amazing, passionate teachers applied within just 3 weeks. Learning at Duara happens differently to most of the schools in the communities in a very child-centered, holistic, and project-based way, while also being aligned with the local curriculum and registered. And what makes me most proud that beyond our communities and learners, also our school entrepreneurs are thriving, such as Flora, Didi, Shirley, and Amina. We are a badass, 100% women, women-led team, which is intentionally small, but mightyful, and highly supported. Whoops. Okay, this was not supposed to be like this, but enjoy. Let me talk a bit about our vision. We are, on the one hand, thinking about the breadth. We believe, as Flora shared already, that in every community there's a woman who dreams of starting her school and who has the potential to do so. And so Duara's purpose is to help her transform her dream into reality. So we envision that there's one micro school in every community. But beyond the breadth, we really care about the depth. So we want that every school is going into the ripple effects beyond its 4 walls. And by partnering with local schools, with the government, supports the capacity training of teachers and community members. Our journey immediately from here, we got 4 schools today, 15 by January, 40 by the end of next year, and then moving towards 400, which is when, as a collective, we reach financial sustainability. Our invitation today, join us if this resonates with you. To many of the education innovators here, we'd love to experiment with you. We'd love to try out things in our schools or your amazing solutions. I already put it all into the type forms. If you're a funder and you care about locally owned, community-driven micro schools, we're looking for $2 million in grants, equity, or debt over the next year. And of course, if you're full of wisdom, come, give your love to us. And so,
Thank you so much. So I'm not just a teacher now, thanks to Duara. I'm actually a community leader and I'm impacting my community. So one micro school at a time, we're sowing seeds of transformation, one child, a teacher, a family, and the community. So thank you so much to all of you.
Good afternoon. I am representing Kenya Connect, an NGO in Wamunyu in Machakos County. My name is Faith, and I serve the organization as the Director of Partnerships and Mentorship. At Kenya Connect, we have a huge vision of an empowered rural community that learns, grows, and thrives together. And we are doing this by ensuring that children complete education with options. We are developing their skills, their values, and their pathways to thrive. We partner with 71 rural public schools in Machakos and Kitui counties, working with over 18,000 students and over 500 teachers. Our work is spread across 6 interconnected areas, and I will highlight 2 of those foundations today. Teachers are at the center of what we do. In order to reach those children, we are empowering our teachers through teacher professional development with 21st century skills so they can deliver quality education. We have a vibrant literacy program to ensure children complete education, able to read, write, and communicate. And through our in-house library program and our mobile library program, we are ensuring that children in rural communities have access to books. We are a locally founded organization with local leadership, working with children, teachers, and parents to effect change. It is worth noting that 90% of our funding goes directly into our programs. Let's look at some of the impact numbers from our solutions. We have issued over 3,000 reusable sanitary pads to ensure that girls stay in school during their periods. We have conducted 61 teacher professional development sessions, and 80% of those teachers are engaged, are sharing ideas on different platforms. We have over 10,000 registered students registered in our library program who are scoring 15 points higher in the national exams. 3,000 students have gone through our computers in the classroom program and are now confident in using devices. And the teachers that have gone through that program can now teach computing and coding. 99% of the girls in our Girl Boy Empowerment Program to reduce teen pregnancies and gender-based violence have not become pregnant in the 3 years that we've been running the program. We have graduated 84 students from our scholarship fund, with 93% attending university and other diploma programs. We have future goals, and it is our goal to train 200 more plus teachers in rural counties in foundational literacy and numeracy and technology to enhance learning. We want to expand our the trainer model for our LEAD clubs and Girl Boy Empowerment Program and provide those programs in 40 more schools. We also want to expand our technology program in the classroom by providing at least 10 devices per school to enhance learning and to ensure that, teachers are also in a position to use AI for lesson planning and teaching tools. At Kenya Connect, we dream big. And it is our dream to expand our key programs to other areas and counties in partnership with NGOs and organizations like you in those areas and those counties. An investment of $1.2 million will grow our current budget of $500 or $500,000 spread across 3 years to $1 million by 2028. And so investing in Kenya Connect is an effective and efficient investment in rural children. We could not do what we do without partners. And these are some of the partners we are working with. And it is worth mentioning that we've had the opportunity to successfully pilot programs from other organizations in our partner schools. I am here, my colleagues Sharon and Patrick are here, and we are happy to connect with you if we haven't already done so, learn from you as you learn from us, and answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Should I wake you up? Maybe I'll do a little dance or something. I'm Urmila Chaudhary, and I'm co-founder of Peepul, an education non-profit working in India in partnership with governments. I'm a career educationist and have been a practitioner for 35 years now. 30 of those years I have spent in classrooms as a teacher to other teachers, mentor, coach, school leader. And what I have understood from all the work that I have done in all these years is that the most difficult part of what we do here is implementation. We can have the best solution, but if we can't implement it, it comes to nothing. And I'm very proud to stand here before you today to talk about the work of my organization, Peepul. I'm not going to talk about this data because everyone knows the problem. Everyone sitting in this room. All I'm going to say is that you take away the reality that we, India, we have the dubious distinction of being the biggest, largest, most populated country in the world. In fact, we are so large, I've been sitting from the morning over here and noticing that even organizations, different organizations from India presenting here today, we don't know our numbers. Somebody is saying 160 million children attend public schools. Somebody else is saying 127 million. Somebody else is saying something else. We are so large and so many that we don't know our own numbers. That's how bad it is. But think of it this way. What if you could actually do something to help all those definitely more than 100 million children, and they could fulfill their potential and be somebody in the world? How cool would that be? And if you could be a part of that. So at Peepul, we believe that the key is engagement, learner engagement. Our government has done a lot. They've solved the problem of access and even attendance to a certain extent. But quality remains a distant dream. And that's where we try to come in. Because we want to create engaged classrooms across all government schools so that we can unlock student learning. And we really believe that every child deserves a great teacher, an engaging lesson, a skilled teacher who can deliver that engaging lesson, and an efficient school leader who can run, if not a great school, at least a good school. How do we do that? We work in partnership with governments, I've already told you that. So we do two things. We train the middle layer of government. I've told you about the large scale, which is our problem. And there's no possibility of us being able to reach every teacher and every classroom without using the government machinery that already exists. And that's why we have to work with the middle layer of government, anyone who is in charge of quality in the classroom. That could be a cluster academic coordinator, a block academic coordinator, a mentor teacher, a principal, anyone we can find where we go. And it's really important for us to collaborate with government and co-create with government. So while we do give teachers material that they can use in the classroom, whether it's toolkits or workbooks for children, teacher manuals, we don't make it all by ourselves. We make sure that at every step of the process, we've involved teachers, mentor teachers, and government officials, so that finally the product that reaches them is theirs, not ours. The second thing that we do is work with government to shift policy, or even just make sure that policy is implemented, because that's often the problem. By setting up governance units and monitoring systems, and we try to use government machinery as much as possible for sustainability. And we create these lovely classrooms where children are learning and they're happy and they have a safe and engaging learning environment. But it's a long journey. Meet Pramila. She was a child in Madhya Pradesh, and she was at least 3 to 4 years behind her class. And she's not alone, there are many like her. But our 45-minute remedial program put her on the road to success. And she's now able to solve two-digit division problems and read basic English text and write simple sentences in her own language. We have reached so far 60,000 teachers, 5 million students. The numbers just don't make sense to me. I have to keep seeing these numbers written down somewhere to make sense of it. They're just so large. This achievement data that you see on this slide is from our program in Delhi, where we have collected data by a third-party assessment. And over the last year, we've been very, very rigorous about assessing and collecting data so that we can iterate, be agile, keep changing what we are doing, and so that we can keep getting better. And we have noticed over the last year, children in grade 3 across 1,500 schools in Delhi, Municipal Corporation, actually achieve this growth in language and maths. And they are, 85% more children are now achieving grade level expectations. They're either meeting or exceeding expectations. We've also worked with government to create teacher training policy, to streamline, the problem that we were talking about earlier, where there's too much for the teacher to do. So how does one streamline that? And we've achieved all this so far at a cost that's less than $1 per student. Some of you may have come to our exemplar schools in Delhi. Those are at a higher cost. Those are 3 schools that we run directly ourselves, which are like bright spots, lighthouses for the system. But this I'm talking about our scale program. What do we want to do in the next 3 to 5 years? We want to continue to anchor on foundational literacy and numeracy in the early years, but I really believe that we can't stop there. We have to go beyond. We have to go beyond FLN. We have to go beyond the early years, because there are many children in our schools sitting in grades 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 who are not at a foundational level. So we want to look at that, and we want to work intentionally for those children as well, so that the gains are not lost, the gains in FLN are not lost. We keep up the momentum, and neglected children are taken care of. Of course, we need funding for our big ambition, but what we also need is just, partners that will help us to build tools, leverage technology, because we cannot reach the kind of scale that we're dreaming of without technology, and help us to also influence policy by sharing what you've done in your own countries. And over the last 2 days, I've spoken to and heard from so many different people who are doing similar work that we can learn from, and I'm sure we have something to share with you too. So please do get in touch if you'd like to partner with us. I can assure you that if you do, you will work with a phenomenal team of practitioners, economists, educators, and we have diverse partners and donors who have put their faith and trust in us, so we can't be all bad. Thank you.
I'm here with my colleague Michael. I am from Ghana, so you can see my beautiful smoke. Michael is from Ghana, but he's not looking like a Ghanaian today. We are here to share with you Ghana's journey in scaling play-based learning and the role Sabre has been playing to support that process. Ghana has made significant progress in early childhood education since 2007, when it's introduced 2 years of compulsory pre-primary education. And since then, we have seen a number of policies to improve the sector. In 2019, it rolled out a play-based kindergarten curriculum. The objective was that it was going to transform the teaching pedagogy in the classrooms and the way teachers and learners interact. Unfortunately, it hasn't gone as planned. And so we still have a lot more teachers who are using lecture method and have not been trained on play-based pedagogy. This, of course, encourages rote learning and memorization. We still have a lot of teachers who use corporal punishment as their tool to manage behavior of children. And it is this that Sabre has been working with the government to try and improve. As it has been said severally by other presenters, the previous challenges reflect in the lower primary, especially in the area of learning outcome. We see that in 2022, there was a national standardized assessment that was done for primary 2 learners, and it showed that nearly 2/3 or a little over 2/3 of them, of our learners, primary 2 learners, could not achieve the reading expectation. And we have more than 1/3 failing to achieve the numeracy expectation. Of course, you could say from many years ago, this is progress, but no child should be in school without learning. And the government is committed in improving that together with development partners. This situation is even worse among the low-fee private schools and schools in rural areas. And so this is the problem that we are committed in working with the government to try and resolve. In the last 20 years, Sabre's work has mainly been one of partnership. We focus on 3 main areas. The first is influencing policies and practice through advocacy and technical support. In the last couple of years, we've worked with the government to develop curriculum. We've worked with the government to develop EC policy. We've worked with the government to develop frameworks. And so we are in the room when policies are being developed. And I think that is exciting for us. The second thing we do is to train teachers, head teachers, and key officials at the Ghana Education Service to support in the implementation of the play-based pedagogy. And finally, we work with them to transform the learning environment into one that supports play-based pedagogy. Now, we believe that training alone will not bring about a change. And so there are 4 other key components that work together with training to bring about a change in practice. Without coaching and support to the teachers following the training, there would not be implementation. And so we support the school leaders to offer one-on-one instructional support to the teachers. We know that monitoring and assessment is key because it helps us to know what is working in the classrooms and what are not working. Teaching and learning resources are critical because that ensures that learners are actively involved in the learning process. And in the schools where we have worked, where these 5 components work together harmoniously, we see shift in 4 key areas. Shift number 1. We see shift in pedagogy. Teachers move from the lecture method to the use of play-based learning. Shift number 2, we see a shift in the teacher and child interaction, moving away from the use of cane to the use of positive behavior management strategies. Number 3, we see a shift in the learning environment from empty classrooms to a classroom that supports learning, a classroom with interactive resources. And finally, we see a shift in the early learning experience of our 4- and 5-year-olds, which sets them up to achieve literacy, numeracy, and psychosocial skills. Mike?
So, what does the data say? Right. So, across of public and private schools where we've worked so far, we've reached approximately 300,000 children and trained over 6,000 teachers over the period of 20 years. In an external evaluation that was conducted in 6 districts where we operate in the eastern region of Ghana, we saw that 75% of learners in the intervention schools where we operate achieved and mastered the numeracy and literacy skills compared to 27 and 41% respectively in the non-intervention schools. A similar outcome pertained in the assessment of psychosocial skills, which some usually would call socio-emotional learning or skills. We realized that 71% of these learners, having gone through this training under the teachers, have achieved and mastered the psychosocial skills compared to 50% of students or schools within the non-intervention schools. This year, Ghana will be scaling play-based learning across the country with support from Global Partnership for Education and some Swiss investors. And the objective is to make sure that we reach 1.2 million children in public schools with support from NGOs like Sabre Education, providing the needed technical assistance to make it happen. The system-wide transformation is key, but then we need to make sure that no school or no child is left behind. I mentioned that the scaling is happening in public schools. What it means is that private schools are being left behind. But the evidence also suggests that Private schools serve a very large market within Ghana, and specifically low-fee private schools contribute as much as 40% of learners within the country. And therefore, approximately 240,000 learners are likely to be left behind once this scaling happens. We often see that children in these areas or schools in these areas are often left out in training, in mentoring, and in governmental support. So we need to make sure that this does not happen. Approximately 240,000 learners must be carried along the transformation agenda. What do we seek, or what kind of support do we seek to make sure this happens? We are seeking funding partners to extend this service, this transformation agenda to both public and private schools. We also seek the support of research partners to strengthen our evidence base of the private school model, to make sure that we deepen the evidence base for private engagement, and also to tell the story that it is possible to be done in the private schools as well as in the public schools. The last but not the least is thought leadership. We seek thought leaders to help us co-create, a new word, I think I've heard it so many times today, I think as far as yesterday, co-create, co-develop, and document a more sustainable pathway for scaling in schools in Ghana. So this is a very fantastic picture. You can see that's the team that we are, and all the partners that have supported us so far, but we certainly need more support and more partnership. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. One more big round of applause for Sabre Education. And of course, your QR. Over to you, Collins.
Thank you. This is a time where your digestive system goes up to your brain and shuts your mind and shuts your eyes. So indulge me for about 5 to 7 minutes. Room to Read. Let me take you through a journey of Room to Read. This is a global organization transforming millions of lives of children in low-income communities and focus in literacy and gender equality. Our tagline and what we believe in is that world change starts with educated children. We have a crisis. We have an emergency. I know a lot of numbers have been thrown, but I want to throw some very powerful numbers that will shock your brain. 1 out of 3 young people, 25 years from today, which is 2050, will actually be living in Africa. Put that in one side of on the mind. 9 out of 10 children, and that's the reality today in Africa, 9 out of 10 children in sub-Saharan Africa are unable to read a simple text by age of 10. A growing population, exponentially growing population, with a challenge on illiteracy. To compound that, we've heard about teachers. There is a greater need of ensuring that we have at least 15 million teachers, both in primary and secondary schools. So the problem is continuing to expound. Why Room to Read sees this as a state of emergency in sub-Saharan Africa is because also there is limitation of local language material and curriculum that's aligned to evidence-based pedagogy. That is why we have an emergency in Africa. Our big vision as Room to Read is really to ensure that we have a free world of illiteracy and gender inequality. But more importantly, the last few words in our vision statement is creating a lasting change, scale, and sustainability. And that's why we exist. So in Africa, let me take you a little bit about some key numbers in Africa. We are currently in 7 countries in Africa. We have been operating for the last 25 years, 16 of those in Africa. We've been able to develop material in local language in 16 of African languages. And more powerful, in Tanzania, our local learning material in grade 1 and grade 2, in learner books and teacher guides, are room-to-read-led materials. Same as in Limpopo, South Africa, where you walk into schools, grade 1, grade 2, are in local language material. 10 million children have been able to benefit in 5 countries. 17 million books checked out in libraries that we've been able to partner and establish in our geographies. And what's the impact? 2 times more correct words for children and 2 times more comprehensive comprehension on children that we support in room to read versus non-supported schools. And that's why it's good to be the last person on board, because I'll be asking for each and every one of you's partnership and collaboration to double that number. We follow a structured pedagogy in room to read that is just very clear and very straightforward. We create diverse quality reading materials. These books are inclusive and are books that we put in curriculum. But more importantly, are fiction, non-fiction books, different journals, different formats, chapter books, read alouds, and more importantly, books that are inclusive for Braille for our learners. We train teachers, we coach teachers. But what is powerful about this is that we want to ensure, and what we're keen about is the scale and impact and sustainability when we coach, train, and work with teachers to make sure that we equip them to be effective, to be able to teach the children how to read and write. And lastly, we establish child-friendly libraries that are filled with quality books, books that are fun to read in local languages, and books that children can take in class and enjoy reading at home. So we are combining the science of learning as well as the magic of learning, of reading, to sustain children's reading skills and development. So as we move along, non-formal settlement, non-formal settings is critical for our literacy outcomes. And our approach is very simple. There is realization because of poverty, displacement, and barriers. A lot of children and millions of children still remain behind. Very simple approach. Number 1, we follow evidence-based structured pedagogy, which everybody has been talking about, the science, but more custom-made to non-formal contexts. We engage with large, small, but more importantly, our engagement is not on the grades of the learners, is on the level of comprehension. Developing local materials in mother tongue languages, and key is partnerships for us. So we follow a very simple, structured theory of change. And what I really want to emphasize is on our theory of change, on our right-hand side, on research and insight. That's very key for us as Room to Read, to be able to influence the learning systems, both formal, informal, as well as the government. Or Tanzania, where we're actually piloting our work and support, with support from our great partners here. We are targeting 300 learners. And why 300? These are children that are in children homes and children that are in centers that we call co-ed centers. These are centers where children are taken to catch up. You know, they're falling out, they've had early pregnancies, and they really need to catch up. And this is where our intervention comes in, looking at how they score in terms of our minimum. We're looking at really intervening at where it's very, very critical, looking at if they are really scoring in oral reading fluency. They are grouped: early readers, non-readers, and developed readers, emerging readers. And we have great success in our pilot right now. So to quickly take you through our bigger strategy, forget about the small font. I'll save your energy. In the short term, we're really looking at making sure that we have a buy-in, that we secure buy-in and ownership into the communities, into the governments and non-governmental actors. We're also looking at aligning in the short term a remedial literacy program into the national, regional, and district for non-formal education frameworks. Because in the midterm, we are looking at institutionalizing these remedial programs into government's educational frameworks. We're looking at strengthening capacity for educators, and more importantly, in the midterm, build strong evidence base for effectiveness across diverse non-formal contexts. But in the long run, we're talking about 10, 15 years from now, we want to achieve together full-scale adoption of remedial literacy program across government and non-governmental system. But more importantly, the last bullet there is to position children homes, to position private schools as learning hubs and showcase best practice for facilitating this. What's the next chapter for Room to Read? We are currently in 7 countries. We're in Kenya, Malawi, Nigeria, Rwanda, South Africa, Tanzania, and Uganda. We're looking to expand and scale. We're looking for collaboration. We're looking for partnerships. But we are also looking to expanding in 9 new countries, Ghana being one of them here, Eswatini, and the countries that I've listed there as per our strategy. And ladies and gentlemen, this would not be possible without collaboration, without partnerships from implementing partners, government partners. We are looking for about 5 million to launch new programs in Kenya and Tanzania, and 1 million in developing materials in 2 other languages. And this is only possible if we can collaborate, and we can partner to be able to scale and ensure sustainability of our work in Africa and across the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Collins.